Hi, welcome to today's lesson. What we're going to be looking at today is factorizing, specifically taking out a common factor. So this is the first step in your great factorizing journey. Dun, dun, dun. No, I say that because I know if you're just starting on factorizing now, you've got a lot of factorizing still to come. You're going to be using it the whole way through year 9, year 10, year 11. You may even be starting this in year 8, in which case, this is the beginning. Okay, so factorizing, I think of it as a reverse of multiplying something out. If I've got something like 2x plus 3, if you've done the distributive law, you know that when I multiply this out, I get 2x plus 6. So that's the multiplication, that's the distributive law. If I'm doing factorizing, what I want to do is I want to go from this answer into this. What would give me the distribution that would result in that answer? Okay. Now, let me show you. The thinking step is not really too tricky. So let's look at an example, right? E.g., the example is 12b minus 20. Okay, so 12b minus 20. All right? So this is my thinking step. This is what I am imagining. I'm looking at 12b, so my thinking step, THS. Not true Hollywood story, but thinking step. Okay. So 12b, I'm looking at, 12b is, if I break up the number and like open this thing out, 12 is 4 times 3 times b. That is a way of writing it. I could write 2 times 6 times b. I could write 2 times 2 times 3 times b. But I'm looking for 4 times 3. And you're going to see why in a second. That's 12b. Now 20, I'm going to write as 4 times 5. Again, I could have done 2 times 2 times 5. It wouldn't be an issue. What I'm trying to look at here is I'm trying to break them up so that they have the same common factor. That's what I'm looking at, a common factor that goes into both of them. Okay, this is why we do highest common factor. Okay, that's why you look at it when you're doing factors of numbers. So I'm looking for the highest common factor that goes into both of them. Well, a 4 goes into that and a 4 goes into that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it out. I say pull it out, but what I really mean is I'm going to divide it out. I'm going to divide it out of 12b, and I'm going to divide the 4 out of 20. So if I pull that 4 out to the front, right? So I've taken it out of there, and I've taken it out of there. What am I left over with? Well, I'm left over with 3b, same sign for now, minus, and 5. And that's it. Factorized. Okay? I've pulled a 4 out of both of those. 4 out of 12 and a 4 out of 20, and what am I left over with? 3b minus 5. Now this here, that's purely thinking. Okay, you can do it in rough and pencil until you get used to it, but I promise you, after a couple of these, you're going to be leaving this stuff out. You're not even going to be writing this down. It's useful in the beginning, maybe to show yourself what you're going through and what's going through your mind, but it's really not vitally important. Okay, this is a two-step answer. There's the question, boom, there's the answer. Simple as that. Okay. Alrighty. There's lots more with taking out common factors, numerical common factors, numbers. But let's look at taking out a common factor that's a variable, a letter. So let's take a look at another example. E.g., I'm going to do this in blue, just to change up colors. E.g., let's take a look at 3c cubed plus 4c squared. Okay. So I'm rushing this a bit because this is a video blog. You can go and do it slowly in your own time, but I'm going to go to the next thing. The numerical factorization is all the same. Boom, 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 take out the same highest common numerical factor. When I go into algebraic factorization, look at the thinking step. Okay, so now, here's my thinking step. Okay, I'm going to break up 3c cubed. 3c cubed is 3 times c times c times c. c cubed, 1, 2, 3 of them. And 4c squared is 4, well, 2 times 2, I'm going to just leave it at 4, times c, c squared. Okay, so there's c cubed, there's c squared. So I say, okay, great, super, Mr. Roosh. Which one what's the most I can take out of them? Well, I can take out that c, and that c, that's the same one, right? And then I can take out this c, and I can take out that c. That's the same one. Okay, so let's take that out. I've got c times c and c times c. So the most I can take out is c squared, right? And then I write down what am I left with. I'm left with, in the front, 3 times one of them 3c, same sign, plus, at the back here, just 4. Taking both of his c's out, plus 4. And that's it. Okay. Now, if you're slightly more advanced with this, okay, you won't have to write down the thinking step. The shortcut, which is on the notes in the blog, is I can take out the lowest power, okay, of the variable. Right. So the highest common factor of variables is its lowest power in the whole expression. So if I look at this, the lowest power of the variable is c squared. So that's the most I can take out. Okay. It's not vital to know that off by heart, but when you start getting into more advanced things, then it's better just to have that shortcut in your bag. Okay, let's take a look at one last example. Right, and then you can go and practice all of these by yourself. Okay, so one last example, e.g. Okay, so with this one I'm going to be taking out a numeric and an algebraic common factor. So I'm going to factorize 6e cubed plus 14e squared minus 10e. Okay. And so I said, okay, great. Oh, they've got all the same letter, so that means I'll be able to take out a common factor of a common variable, right? And oh, look, everything's even. So that means at least, or at the least they've got 2. Sorry, at the least they've got 2. Okay. Right. So I'm not going to write out my thinking step. I'm just going to talk through it. If you want, the thinking step's on the notes. So here's what I'm looking at. What's the highest power? Well, the highest power of the variables is, the lowest power. The lowest power of the variables is 1. He's got an invisible power of 1. So that's the most I can take out. I can pull out that e to the power of 1. Alright? Okay. So I said, okay, great. If I pull out that e to the power of 1, okay, well, what's left over there? Right? And I'm going to deal with that in a second. So the lowest power is e to the power of 1. What's the common factor between 6, 14, and 10? Well, 6 is 2 times 3, 14 is 2 times 7, 10 is 2 times 5. Okay, so I can pull out a 2, right? Nothing more than that. 2 times 3, 2 times 7, 2 times 5. Only a 2. So the most I can pull out is a 2. Right. So, well, what does that leave me with? Okay. If I divide a 2 out of 6, I'm left over with 3. Right? If I pull one of the e out of e cubed, I'm left over with e squared. You with me with that? Okay, you can see the writing step, the thinking step on the notes, right? If I pull out a 2, divide out a 2 from 14, I'm left with 7. If I put one of the e's from e squared, I'm left with just e. Same sign, if I pull out a 2 from negative 10, if you want to think of it that way, negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. That's why I don't have to stress about the signs changing, alright? So that leaves me with 5, okay? And if I pull out one e from there, I've got no e's left. So that's it, right? So there's the full factorization, okay? Now, the question might be asking is, why do we bother? You've just taught us to multiply everything out to the distributive law. Now you're telling us to reverse the whole thing. Well, the reason why we do factorization is later on, when you get into algebraic fractions, you're going to be using factorization to simplify algebraic fractions, okay? That's the main reason, one of the most powerful things that we use factorization for, okay? For now, you just got to know how to go both ways, multiplying it out, factorizing it out, okay? I'm going to be doing another blog on factorizing out a common bracket, okay? And we'll check that when you get there, all right? Go check that out. Remember, I'm here for you.